Good morning, everyone. Our venture name is Safehouse. I'm Erik, the founder.
And I'm Yanshuo, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer. So when I was in high school, I was in an English learning program called ESOL, where I had the opportunity to be in the same class with a lot of people all around the world, and including some Syrian refugees. During my interactions with those people, I learned a lot about their backgrounds. And I also learned a lot about their living conditions back home. Unfortunately, their living conditions back home is way worse than what we think. They're living in those tents that might collapse at any time of the day, and it's super not safe. So that led me to the question, what can I do to help their lives?
So the conditions that refugees face are universal, regardless of whether you're a Syrian refugee, Rohingya refugee, or even a refugee displaced by natural disasters. They all suffer from the threat of disease, theft, and exposure to elements. The current solution, 10 cities, most notably the hoop tent, canvas tent, bamboo tent, and the next best thing, short-lived shelters that last for only 3 years. Despite the average amount of time that a refugee spends at a shelter is over 12 years. So our solution, the Safehouse, prides itself on 3 key characteristics: safety, security, and durability. Safety. Our high-grade polypropylene copolymer assures that the Safehouse is both chemically and fire-resistant. Security. The Safehouse is impenetrable without the use of power tools. And last but not least, it's very durable. It lasts for at least 10 years.
So in this field, we have two main competitors. And they are Better Shelter, which is a brand from of IKEA, and also we have another competitor, which is Safehouse. It's a vendor from China. Comparing to our 2 main competitors, we have a couple key advantages, such as we have a higher set of efficiency, our product is more modular, it's more rigid, our product lasts a longer time, and our product also provides solar power and is also fire resistant. The one metric that we're unable to beat our competitors is that we have a higher initial cost. However, because our product lasts a longer time, our product is actually more cost effective in a long-term perspective.
So we believe a Safehouse is the perfect balance between a home and a necessary tool. We offer safety, security, and durability, as well as privacy, adaptability, and the long-term investment that comes along with each and every Safehouse. We believe that these strengths outweigh any weaknesses, such as the long contract process and a slightly higher initial cost compared to Better Shelter.
And in addition, in 2017, 10,000 out of the 15,000 IKEA's Better Shelter were returned due to the poor quality, and that's just a demonstration of, they were using like different duct tape or whatever trying to fix the product. Okay, so we calculated our total available market to be $5.7 billion by multiplying the number of refugee families in the world by the cost of providing 1 shelter to each refugee family. And then we also calculated the served available market to be $60 million, and we set our target market to be $4.3 billion in the next 6 years.
So our market approach and strategy depends on the procurement authority of the UN. First, we'll appeal to the General Assembly, then the UN High Commissioner, and that decision is left to the CC chairperson, who will, if they decide to approve our Safehouse, they'll procure the Safehouses from us. This entire process is expected to take anywhere between 18 and 24 months, which is a very long time. We hope to use that time very wisely and negotiate additional contracts with polypro and lithium cell battery suppliers, as well as engage in more pitches and secure more investments.
Yep.
So our initial startup expenses, we actually met our target in our last pitch competition, so we'll elaborate more on that in the next slide. Our gross revenue projections are at a 32% gross profit margin. We'd expect to accumulate $3.42 million total after 6 years. So in the first 3 years, we hope to deliver around 460 Safehouses, which is roughly 10% of what IKEA delivered in their first year. So we believe that that's a reasonable estimate. However, this is isolated just to one market segment. In the future, we hope to design additional models to solve homelessness, deliver shelters to natural disaster victims, and even deliver shelters or places to live to military forward operating bases.
And that's a brief diagram that shows how our business works. Basically, the UNHCR acts as a middleman between us and the refugees. They pay us, and then they buy the shelters and give them to the refugees. slide. So you might wonder, what are we going to do with the money? Well, first of all, in the first round, we obtained $15,000, and we are currently spending that money on our materials for the prototype. And we're planning to use. So if we won this competition, we plan to use the money. First of all, we're going to spend $12,000 to hire a company to do some professional structural analysis for our project, and then we're going to spend $3,000 to redesign the minimum viable product to fix any potential flaws.
So our timeline can be distinguished into 3 distinct segments. First, we interviewed with Syrian refugees to identify the problem. Then we interviewed government and international aid organizations to see which organization aligned with our vision. And we identified the potential buyer, UNHCR, because of their past history of purchasing shelters for refugees, as well as their large annual budget of around $7.7 billion. Then we contacted potential polypro suppliers to ensure that we can obtain the best quality while the lowest price possible. We designed a 3D model of the structure in SolidWorks and contacted UNHCR to check the availability of the contract. We then pitched to investors at Missouri S&T as our angel/pre-seed round and secured an investment, and now we're ordering materials for the prototype. In the next 2 years, we hope to pitch to even more investors for a Series A and design more models for the homeless and natural disaster victims.
Hello everyone, so I'm Yanshuo Zhang. I'm a sophomore in mechanical engineering here at Missouri S&T. So what makes me different than any other designers? Well, first of all, I have some experience in the field. I actually just came back from a 7-month-long mechanical engineering co-op in control devices back in St. Louis, where I learned a lot of, where I gained a lot of experiences in product design and as well as business. Because during my internship, even though I was doing mechanical engineering, I had the opportunity to act as a translator for my company with its Chinese suppliers, where I gained a lot of experience in the entrepreneurship and supply chain area.
So I'm Erik Lee, and what separates me from every other founder is my management experience of 2 previous ventures. One of them I secured a $4,000 investment for a server hosting venture, which led to over 70 plus paid users and a retention rate of around 25% over 3 months, which is fairly decent for a software as a service startup. And I am also personally just as invested in improving the lives of refugees, just like you.
So you might wonder, what makes our team different than any other team? Well, first of all, I'm an engineering student, and Erik, he's a programmer. We're studying in different areas and in different fields. So we both have different mindsets, and we think problems differently. So we have a really good dynamics, and we bring different ideas into our group, which forms a really good team dynamics. Aside from everything, the one thing that actually distinguishes us from any other team is about we care. We care about refugees. We have empathy for those people because our personal experiences with those people. Therefore, we're driven and we're passionate about this project, and we're willing to turn this thing into a reality. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good day.
Have you talked to legal yet? Is there any way to protect any elements of your design or materials, or what prevents a competitor from coming in and just doing what you're doing?
So first of all, like what we said, we are going to file like a non-provisional patent. So the material that we're going to be used are just going to be are going to be under the protection of our patent. So they're not going to use like any of our materials and stuff and try to copy us.
Okay. You just haven't done that yet?
We are on the process. Questions?
So if this is a good idea, it's going to have to scale up really fast. What are you going to do?
Right.
So the entire the initial contract process is it's going to take around 18 to 24 months. So in terms of scaling, we would obviously need a ton of materials. So that's why we would try to use that time wisely and get additional investments to purchase more raw materials, most notably our polymer as well as aluminum frames. So that's kind of our strategy. And in time, we'll try to scale up.
And in this process, we are planning to write some white papers to the government so we can get some grants. So that will help with our financial side as well.
But what about linking yourself with a company that has the infrastructure to scale it that fast? You might have the ideas, but you don't have the infrastructure to scale it that fast.
Right. We haven't thought about that yet, but it's a good idea.
Have you thought about having more than one model that might be is less expensive to compete with some of the other ones that don't have the solar example, as an example?
That's a good question. So if you go back and see our model right here. So this thing, so this is our base model, which has like 4 different parts, as you can see. However, you can take this model and take it apart and just like, and you can just make like half of it with like half of the materials. And it's just like how you play Legos, but they're like kind of giant Legos. So if you don't have enough money, you know, you can just shrink the size, and it will be like the same process, and it actually takes less time to make it, to assemble it.
Right. The purpose is also to adjust to the terrain of rougher terrain, such as in the Middle East. You know, it's a lot more uneven, as well as specifically Bangladesh. You know, like the environment there is not as obviously flat as ideal. Right?
So if you plan on making this a little bigger, and you just keep adding like parts and, you know, as like the same drill like how you play Legos.
Right. So you can't actually expand horizontally, but you can theoretically expand vertically to no end. So if you need more space, then you can.
Just let them know.
So what sort of environmental issues exist at the end of the useful life of this product, especially when you scale it and you've got a critical mass of the product?
So, so I interpreted your question as like what environmental issues that this can possibly raise up. Is that correct?
I'm looking both at, are there potential opportunities to be environmentally or eco-friendly in what you're building and the production side of it, but also the end of the useful life? Are there environmental harms that need to be taken care of?
So there are actually slight harm to the environment because the plastic does degrade because of UV rays after around like 25 years is the maximum lifespan of these shelters. So, however, the average amount of time that refugee spends is around like 12 to 13 years. So hopefully by the time they can move out of that camp, we'd be able to re-procure these back from them and then fix them up and then re-deliver them to additional refugees. So we don't expect at the end of the lifespan of the shelters that they'd still be out there, ideally.
They'd be in a landfill somewhere?
No, so we procure them back to us and then we modify them as necessary. And then we re-deliver them, so it'd be actually like a cheaper process than to just keep reusing them.
Yeah. So the reason we use aluminum for a frame is because first of all, compared to other metals, like this aluminum is lighter. Therefore, if they don't need it anymore, we just take them apart and just put everything like together in like 2 boxes, so they can be easy so it's easy transportable to if like there are more like if people need them in the future. And then if there's no one needed, we can just bring them back to the factory and we can just reuse the aluminum.